Alright, guys. It is time for some beautiful WCS casts. WCS Spring happened just last weekend. I was there live casting the event. Why am I casting more games on my channel? The reason is, guys, there's a new format. And that new format involves a knockout bracket. So not only on day one are we kind of having so many matches being cast at once that we miss a lot of them, but day two as well, we have a knockout elimination bracket. So if someone gets knocked out in the group stage 2 or 3, they go straight into this knockout bracket and they have another life to get through to that top 16, or top 24, I should say. The knockout bracket feeds into a round of 24, and that goes into the round of 16, and so on and so forth. So basically the way it works is if you get through to the 3rd group stage and you win that group, you go straight to the round of 16. If you get 2nd, you go straight to the round of 24, where you will face the winners of the knockout brackets. And then people are seeded deeper into that knockout bracket depending on how well they did earlier in the match. So because that was a ton of games, unfortunately we also didn't have a secondary English stream. So there was a shit ton of matches which haven't been cast. A lot of amazing players, actually even players who made top 16, didn't get a single series commentated. So I'm going to do some analytical casts, throw them up for you guys. Right now, down here in the bottom left, we have the Polish Zerg, an absolute monster. It's Elazer. Now, he's playing for a Polish team. Oh, man, I'm so bad with remembering players' names. Because there's a new patch, it doesn't show me the logo next to the hatchery. Or maybe they just didn't even have an in-game tag. Anyways, up here in the top right, in the blue, it's Harstem. Now, Harstem plays for that Dutch team. What are they called? Oh, god damn, my memory is all over. It's AGO. AGO is Elazer's team, but I forget what it stands for. Oh, and Harstem plays for, oh my god. Alright, Twitch is going to tell me in a sec, and then you guys can be my researchers. Thank you. I'm terrible. Yeah, they released the WCS replays literally right after the event, guys. This probe here being a massive dickhead. So Harstem scouted early. This is a small map, and no doubt he just wanted to make sure that he wasn't being early pulled. Otherwise, he would have scouted a lot later. Nonetheless, chrono boosting an adept, starting warp gate, and that pylon placement makes me think he's going to be going for a rope. He's only got 2 guys on gas, trailing a 3rd onto it. I think we're going to see a robo opening. Oh, 2nd adept might cancel warp gate and start a Stargate, but it doesn't really look like it. That probe being chased off. Elazer here has not started Zergling speed yet. I think he's going to go 3rd base before Zergling speed. Interesting. Okay. So he doesn't want that super fast Ling speed, but there's a 2nd chrono boosted adept coming across this map. Notice how he sent his adept to the south, and he's sending a 2nd adept to the north. He doesn't want to let these Zerglings get in, and he's going for a Twilight Council first. Okay, so it might actually be just an old school Archon drop. This Zergling of Elazer, though, doing a good job of hiding. The 3rd base goes down. Ling speed starts up, delayed about 25 seconds or so in order to get that going, and Harstem diving in with his adept. He'd love to have a little look around, wants to pick off those Zerglings, but Elazer here says, nope, 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 just pulls back. Good micro on both sides, only losing shields, which will regenerate, and Zergling life, which also slowly regenerates. Now, back at home, we are seeing that Zergling. It wants to get in. Elazer wants the scout, but he doesn't want to sacrifice the Overlord. He wants to keep it on this high ground. Great micro by Harstem to keep him in the dark. At the moment, the real power of PvZ and why a lot of Zerg players were complaining is because they can't read the Protoss opening. We do see 1 drone and a few Lings go down. Does lose an adept, though, so he's just going to back off for now. So basically, there's been a lot of robo openings. The Marjorie build, or Marguerite build, is the #1 build that people were complaining about in this tournament. People were basically saying, look, it's a build where you go for a robo, you get a prism, you come down, spot the high ground, use the Stalker to kill the Overlord. You then pull off gas, you make 2 Immortals, charge, and you just do a 7 or 8 gauge 2 Immortal charge lot all in. That hits your opponent at 4 minutes 50. 2 Immortals, a Warp Prism, and you're warping in 8 charge lots at a time. It's devastatingly difficult to deal with. And to really crush it, you need to go Queenling Bane. The problem is the Protoss players are denying scouting. It's hard to identify that's coming. They even do tricks where they'll take this as a fake gas underneath your Overlord. Or they'll queue up probes and then cancel them one at a time. So that these lights on the side of the Nexus, which flash, that actually tells you that that Nexus is building probes. So you can see on Elazer's vision, he sees those. So when Harstem's doing that build, he actually cancels probe, starts a probe. Cancels probe, starts a probe. So there's always one producing, but he has another probe. So he cancels this one, and because he's got another probe queued up, you don't ever see those lights stop. It's a brutal, brutal, cheesy way of hiding what you're doing, and it's disgusting. And because of that, some Zergs are going Overlord speed, but they're often finding they scout it coming, and then they die because it still hits them so hard, and they've dumped a ton of money into Overlord speed. It is disgusting. Nonetheless, guys, this is a Glaive Adept Pressure 5 gateways, a warp prism as well. Warps in 5 more adepts on the front. 10 adepts at 5 minutes? This is disgusting. This is one of the most brutal adept timings I've seen in a while. Holy shit. I was going to say, oh, only 5 adepts, that's not that many. Then I saw 5 warping in and I was like, okay. I mean, his roaches just aren't here. He committed to a lot of zerglings, did Elazer. Elazer thought he was going to be dealing with something like a stalker drop or just 2 adept pressure in a warp prism. He built a lot of zerglings, completely tricked, did not realize what build it was. And, I mean, you kind of want to surround and do some damage with the drones where they can get good surface area, but Glaive adepts ravage way too hard. Look at these 3 adepts wedged in the mineral line. The zerglings trying to get the wraparound. And they are going to actually take care of most of them, but these adepts still just shading all over the place. And he's just going to shift click, I think, on those drones in a second. Oh, he clicked on the extractor there. A little bit of a misclick. Still got adepts actually focusing down the third. And he's queuing up immortals behind this as well. So he's going to knock down the third base. At the same time, he's already killed 19 workers. I mean, when you don't have roaches ready in time for an adept pressure, if you don't have any roaches or banelings, you need to have a shit ton of zerglings. And you need to get a really good surround straight away. If you can't get that, you're basically caught in a middle zone where you don't have enough lings to engage. You're fucked. Best case scenario, you run your drones away until your roaches come out in good enough numbers. But we saw here, Harstem was even able to take down the hatchery. Excuse me. All right. Adept drop going to follow this up. There's a third base on the way. We've got a big roach counterattack coming across, but it's desperate. It's off 27 drones, Ravagers and Zerglings rallying in. Immortals and Sentries on the way for Harstem. He's going to take out these last little bits of economy. He's not even microing this. He just queued that up to drop. He knows he just needs to survive at home. I actually would have loved another Sentry or 2 to warp in there, but he doesn't have any gas. Never mind. He's building Immortals. He's building shield batteries back here. He's going to recall his Warp Prism. Oh, it gets very low, but it does survive. And he's trying to deal some damage from behind his wall. So he's got an Immortal. A second Immortal is very close to popping out. He's got a few Force Fields, 2 shield batteries. Bunch of Glaive Adepts will clean up the Zerglings. It's very important to build Adepts. They suck versus the Roaches, but they're going to kill the Zerglings when they try to wrap around. If you don't have the anti-Zergling, they can kind of surround you and drop Biles on you. Biles to break Force Fields coming down. Immortals, though, doing the work. Zerglings being cleared by the Adepts. Immortals clearing the Roaches. And I think there's just a little bit too much there for Harstem. Of course, picking up these Immortals, warping in a few Zealots, as they do just more raw damage output than Adepts. Once the fighting gets real down and dirty, they're also cheaper. Third Immortal's on the way. Actually, you know, this is a really powerful attack by Elazer. Oh my god, I would have died to this, hey. He's actually managing to do some damage. Of course, he's on 18 workers, so the reinforce is absolutely pathetic. It's essentially one base speedling reinforcement. These Immortals just drippy dropping. As long as Harstem keeps these Immortals alive, he should be fine. He's got a third Immortal about to rally down. Oh my god. Oh, he's warping in a few more depths. Holy shit. Oh my god, the Immortals just won't fucking die. Oh, good babysitting there by Harstem. The last Ravagers go down, and that's GG, well played. So, really cool build order by Harstem. If you guys don't watch Harstem stream, you absolutely should. I see Arjun is throwing down El Capitan emotes. The Harstem emotes. Thank you very much, dude. Yeah, Harstem's such a great Protoss streamer. He also has a YouTube you guys should all check out. If we could link up his YouTube and his Twitch channel in chat, that would be amazing. But yeah, basically the way Harstem's build work is he goes straight for Glaives, gets a Robo behind that, probes up, but he's only got 2 on each gas, notice. Look at that. Only 2 on each gas, so he's not actually mining that much gas. So this is kind of like, and I think he's going to cut probes at about 38. 36 maybe? Probably 36. Oh yeah. Does he do any probe and and this is like a fake gas. Does he do any probe canceling? Yeah, he's gonna stop at 36 probes. Oh, he just did it, didn't he? I think he just did it. Watch the, yeah, he's doing the probe cancel trick. Notice how he's not letting them pop out and he's just restarting. Yeah, so for those, I'm going to get rid of my camera for a second so you guys can actually fully see it. Basically what he does here, if you watch this production bar in the bottom right, notice he queues up a second probe and then cancels the first one. Queues up a second probe, cancels the first one. Queues up a second probe, cancels the first one. As we said, to Elazer's vision, looks like non-stop probe production. You see a third gas. Okay, cool. It's some sort of macro build, right? And he sees the prism, and he knows it's coming. He says, oh, that's fine, I'll just build Zerglings. My Roach Warren, you know, isn't quite done yet. 17 Zerglings, we've got 4 Queens, so 2 Queens to the front, a bunch of Zerglings. That'll defend a couple of Adepts or a couple Stalkers. And then we can drone behind this up to about 50 workers, make a bunch of roaches. Really good response for Elazer if you're up against a Stalker drop, if you're up against a Protoss who's going to 45 probes, which he thinks because of this. So he thinks, okay, worst case scenario, I'm going up about 4 workers on top of my opponent. Then he sees these adepts and he goes, shit. Now, he missed the adepts moving out of the base as well, didn't he? Pretty sure he did. Wait, did Harstem never clean up the Overlord? Was this on purpose? He doesn't bother to clean up the Overlord. Just because the timing is so tight, I guess. And then he's gonna... Oh my god. He can warp in there. Out of vision, right? Or he's just gonna shade past, I guess. Elazer didn't notice. So there was a slight mistake there, I would say, by Harstem to, like, not ferry out those first few adepts or whatever. Like, he sees the prism, but look, that Zergling, which actually would have spotted these adepts, it follows the warp prism. Oh, no. If that Zergling stayed there and he saw those adepts, he'd be able to queue up roaches right now. Instead, look, he adds 2 more drones, and he's just kind of like, doop-de-doop, let's spread some creep. Let's do this. And it's only now he goes, whoa! And every second is vital here. Every second is absolutely huge. So if he knew this was coming, Harstem would have stopped at about 30, probably 40 drones, I would say. And he wouldn't want so many Zerglings. He'd want to go straight into roaches and trying to do that. So holy shit. Just, yeah, absolutely tricked was Elazer. He thought he was dealing with a higher economy Protoss. And yeah, I mean, like I said, when you're in this scenario, it's just a little bit too little too late. You can't handle it. So really nice attack from Harstem. He does probe up a little bit behind it, starts a mortar production, adds a fourth gas third base. So if Elazer didn't counterattack and tried to recover his workers, he would have been able to do that. 27 drones versus a 40-45 probe Protoss, though. It's a fucking tough ask, isn't it, guys? And Harstem would have had a third base. So, yeah. GG's. Let me just grab my authenticator. We'll hop into game 2 of this series. I'm pretty sure it's just Harstem is his Twitch channel. Twitch.tv Harstem. Shout out Harstem. Thank you, Cody. And he also linked Harstem's YouTube. So for anyone watching the vid, his YouTube is just Harstem. That's all of his channel. His channel is just called Harstem. Nice. I guess it's a unique name. No one else is using it. Awesome. All right, guys. Next map. Let's go. So a lot of the Zergs were complaining this tournament saying, look, with this new meta that's evolved, with all these different robo timings and the denying the scout just by spotting the high ground, they're like, look, we feel like we can't deal with this. They're like, nah, it's too hard to figure out exactly what the Protoss is doing. And they're like, look, we make a certain amount of drones, we then make roaches, and it's always a bit of a coin toss, they feel. So maybe they just need to figure out how to scout a bit better, how to both go overlord speed and still survive against these timings. I'm not 100% sure exactly what the case is. I reckon we see gas first this game, guys. I don't think he'll scout on this map. Elazer, biggest map in the pool, so 12 pool's not strong. Not just that, it's also, he loses the series if he loses this game. 12 pool's a big risk. So Harstem says, I'm up in the series. Fuck yeah, let's just go gas first. Now this just allows you to have a smoother opening. The gas first only really is efficient if you skip your probe scout. Well, you don't completely skip it, but you delay it till after your nexus goes down. You could technically scout after your gateway, I think, and still... I guess if you're going Stargate, I'd need to talk to some pro gamers about it. But I feel like you would only want to go gas first. If you were scouting after gateway or pylon... maybe if you're going Stargate first, but not really the biggest. And yeah, some good shit there. So anyways, people were asking in chat about that last game. They said, is it enough damage from Protoss to just kill the third base? Not really. I mean, if you keep all your adepts alive, technically, but you always go for the drones with adepts. It's just if your opponent does a really good job of running their drones all over the place, then killing the third, I mean, the third can't run away. So it's like, oh, you're losing all your mining time, but you're stopping me doing direct damage? Well, guess what? I can just click on a hatchery. That can't micro. So, yeah, generally, you always want to go for the drones because, you know, you could go and click on a hatchery. Adepts take forever to kill a hatchery. They're really bad against killing buildings and armored units. whereas they can kill 20 drones in an instant in a mineral line. So you always go for the workers first with any sort of adept pressure. But yeah, that was a super, super committed 5-gate warp prism adept pressure from Harstem. I really liked it. Really liked it. Down here in the bottom right in the red, it's Elazer representing his team. Was it HOA? Oh my god, I've already forgotten. AGO. Polish team. I think they have like a really good Counter-Strike team. And up here, it's Harstem. El Capitan. Chrono boosting adepts, making warp gate. So I wonder if he sits on that bit of high ground or this bit of high ground. This Overlord. He's going to wait to see, and he might decide to commit to the scout with this Overlord, seeing that it's an adept that's come out. Now, if a Stalker comes out, you're close enough, you can run back to the high ground and hide. But upon seeing it was an adept first, you could decide to dive, knowing you'd get in. I mean, you're going to get in either way, but that's a sacrifice. Yeah, so I think he just hangs out and then just goes back to the high ground. Yeah, it is going to be a Stalker. Twilight Council down very early once again. We see Elazer checking all over the place for any proxies down here in the bottom left. Proxy gate on this map, something we saw classic mess up dark. It was pretty good. Asterion, thank you Zeromax. Asterion is Harstem's team, by the way, guys. Really good Dutch team. And Glaives again. Oh wow, Glaives again. Okay. So we do see Ling speed once again being a little bit delayed this game. So Elazer not rushing Ling speed throughout this series. Extra gateway there. Overlord pokes forward, but sees that the Stalker's there in position. Now, I like this Overlord, but I actually, when your opponent, in this meta, I really like a second Overlord going across the map. And if you see a Stalker hanging at the front, you start going in with that Overlord to get some confirmation scouting. Glaives into DTs. Oh my god. So he's going to be doing some 3-gate adept pressure. 4-gate, okay. So it's still going to be quite committed. He's going to chrono boost a prism out. Yeah. Oh my lord. And he's probing. He's cutting probes already. Just a little bit here or there just to squeeze everything in. Like he's queuing up probes now, but and he will keep queuing them up, but he's cut 1 or 2 to get all this tech down as quickly. Glaives, a DT Shrine, a Robo, and a Prism. So he's going to do 4-gate adept, really try and distract Elazer, and then he's going to try and surprise him with DTs. Now Elazer here has just built a big wave of drones. He's gone Roach Warren into 2nd and 3rd gas. He's going a very fast lair to be safe against any sort of DT play. Now that Warp Prism, it's going to sneak out. The Zergling doesn't see it coming. Does have an Overlord out here. He's got creeps starting to connect his bases, starting to spread. 4 queens. He's building 16 Zerglings again. So Elazer, I mean, he seems to be doing the same sort of response that I like, but I only like this response if I see 2 Stalkers or more. If I don't see more than 1 Stalker, I don't like building Zerglings, and this is why they could still be doing a Glaive adept pressure. Sees adepts warping in, does Elazer. He's got 6 roaches on the way, a little bit faster this time. And remember, this is not as hard at hitting adept pressure as the previous game. There's only 4 gates, not 5. It's still a lot of adepts, though. He doesn't have any drones on his 3rd. Good call there by Elazer. Has to get these roaches grouped up, though. And he's using his Zerglings as backup. Oh, Harstem's going to dive. Actually, not a good dive there. Those adepts are going to go down, but a DT runs in there, and the Prism's diving into the main base, and he warps in 3 more DTs in the main mineral line. Ling's trying to overwhelm the adepts, but the adepts are going to take an okay trade there. This Prism taking a lot of damage in the main, the natural. The drones have run, and these drones, oh my god, so many going down. Harstem's going to lose the Prism. He's going to lose the Prism. Oh no, he recalls those. He actually... I really think he could have killed a few more drones, but nonetheless, good damage. At home, he did have to wall in. Looks like the Zerglings managed to take down, I think, the Stalker that was in the wall. And you know what? Elazer hangs on, guys. Elazer hangs on. He's not too far behind. He's got 11 roaches out. He did lose some queens. He'll need to rebuild those. And this DT actually just ran in and got a few more drones on that 3rd. Very nicely done. How much detection have we got? 2 overseers. We've got 1 on the other side of the map. 1 at home with the roaches. He's really skimping on his detection. You know, Elazer says, look, I took a bit of a punch there to my economy, a lot of lost mining time. I'm just going to drone, and try to just deal with everything with the roaches and the lings. But more adepts looking at pressure. This overseer is going to scout. I think the Zergling hasn't seen the 3rd base yet. He wants to see, is there a ton of gateways? But he sees Robo building, sentries. These are all signs of a longer game. Does see an Archon down here as well. So Archon Drop's going to be following up. And he sees the Forge as well. Another sign of a longer game commitment out of Harstem. Sees the 3rd Nexus. At this point, Elazer's going to feel very good about all that re-droning that he's been doing. He's up at 56 drones versus 50 probes. He's building a few more roaches to make sure he can handle this. The problem is he in position? Yes! 5 roaches and an overseer ready to deal with the adepts. More roaches here, but those drones, he's got to be quick on the pull. I did notice at this tournament, watching a different series of Elazers, there was once or twice he was a bit slow to pull probes away from these Archon drops. These roaches do respond to those adepts very quickly, but the Archon drop gets in the main. Elazer has to pull those drones away. That Queen's going to get focused down. And a bit of focus fire in the natural does take out about 4 or 5 more workers. The Archon just rotating between these bases right now. Prism's going to take a lot of damage here, but he's just going to focus it down. Harstem realizing, hey, that's the only anti-air. I can afford to take a lot of damage sniping that because I know then there's nothing nearby to snipe me. Remember all those queens that went down earlier, guys. Only 2 queens up right now. 3rd queen being rebuilt. We've got +1 range on the way. And Elazer, he really needs to keep follow-up scouting. He's got an overseer going back through. Still doesn't see anything like a Templar Archives. He's going to see a few gateways going up in that main base as well. We've got double hallucinated Phoenix going in at the same time. Archons come back in. Nice. Oh, very nice. 4 workers. Man, Elazer taking so much damage. That's 21 workers that have died in this early game. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't been free. I still think Elazer's doing an okay job, but I think he's going to be a little bit scared now about what's coming next. You know, he doesn't have enough real information to know 100% what's happening. He's going for a 4th, he's going melee, and he's going for a Baneling Nest. That means Roach Ravager Ling Bane is going to be the way to play it, and I think that's a good way to do it. Ooh, very nice Roach run by Elazer. Yeah, this is it. Finally getting a little bit of counter damage. Well worth trading out a few of these Roaches for a pack of drones. Harstem with some lazy micro there. He kind of just A-moved thinking it would be cleaned up. But Elazer gets 7 worker kills. A great trade for 3 roaches. At the same time, it looks like these 2 Archons went down. Did he recall them? Okay, he recalled the Archons, and the Prism just ran to safety. So the Prism was not able to save those Archons. And didn't get any worker kills on that one. So yeah, he stabilizes, does Elazer. He's going to swap into Hydras. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of wish, you know you're not up against the Stargate build. I think Roach, Ravager, Baneling, get a wave of Mutas out and then just go up to like Broodlord, Queen can actually be the most powerful way to play. Hydras are a great unit, of course, but it's just they're coming into the game so late. You're kind of going to be like, hey, look, my Hydra upgrades are done. I've got my first 12 Hydras on the map. Harstem's going to have a ton of Storm at the same time. Like, it's going to line up where those Hydras are coming out a little bit past their use-by date. They're still a good defensive unit, but I don't know if they're quite as powerful as they could be. So, yeah, I really feel like Broodlords in this sort of game is amazing. I think Elazer's maybe a little bit overly paranoid about what could come next. I do like these little 3 Roach run-bys, though. They're so powerful. I'd love to see some Baneling run-bys. Harstem, he's got an okay wall off here. He can obviously warp in a unit there. It's kind of nice to leave a little gap so that if someone just clicks Banelings in, they try to path through the choke point rather than just going through the big wide open area. That way you can block it with a single warp in. 2 Stalkers in the natural wall. Yeah. Oh, Baneling speed's not quite done. Harstem, oh my god, this is ambitious. This is like, I love doing this sort of move. Where with a very small army, you clear creep, you create a lot of threat, and look at that, he slides a DT in the back door. Ah, creepy, creepy. God damn, he just distracts at the front. There was no way Harstem could take a fight right then. Elazer didn't know that, though. He didn't know the depth of that army. Harstem had force fields as a bit of a safety measure. And because there was no Spore Crawler, I had to wait for an Overseer to get over here. 9 workers go down. Fantastic trade. 4th base is finishing up, though. Hive and Spire now coming in. Oh, Zealot's in the back as well. Spire got cancelled. Oh, man, that delays his Broodlord transition. He's got to rebuild that. Oh, my God, 15 drones? What? What? Did he just lose more drones down here? What did I just miss? Or was that adding those on top of the previous count? I think that might have added those on top of the previous count. Yeah, it did. It did. Okay, so it was 7 in the main, 8 in the natural. Okay. I was like, what? Sometimes, like, I feel like there's been a bit of a pause between the two, and then you're like, oh, Zealot spots the Baneling drop. I like Baneling drops. 4 Zerglings there waiting to Baneling drop as well. I love to see Elazer bringing the Baneling drops back into the game. One little tip, guys, is if you're doing Baneling drops a bit earlier in the game, you actually want 3 Banelings and 2 Zerglings, and you want to load the Banelings first, then the Zerglings, because the units you load first will be the first to unload. And the way it works is until you have +2 melee, Banelings will put probes within 1 Zergling head of dying. So you want to drop your 3 Banelings, spread across as many probes as possible, get them all in the red, and then your Zerglings can one-hit them to finish them off. But because he's got +2 melee about to kick in, his Banelings are going to one-hit these workers anyway. At this point, this is a very frightening army from Harstem, and his creep spread on the left-hand side is a bit lacking. Elazer says, fuck fighting you front on, I'm just going to counterattack. He's got to be careful to not get caught out on the map, though. He's only got a few banelings. Yeah, Elaser's got to get the hell out of there. I love this because it's buying time, but remember that cancel on the Spire. It's bought him so much time as well. Harstem here, just creating some beautiful threat. Don't forget about the baneling drops. I feel like Elazer should just be queuing those up right now. He's got to get these Hydras off the map. Has he forgotten their upgrade? He's forgotten the Hydra upgrade. He realizes now, watching them waddle their slow, fat asses, and finally does start muscular augments. These baneling drops have been forgotten. That Zealot even sees it. Oh no. He's got to get those in. He's got to buy more time. And he needs a gigantic pre-spread, but without muscular augments, this is going to be tough. He's got to get some banelings flanking around. He should not be coming in from one angle. A baneling flank from the left will turn this into a good fight for Elazer, but he can't be coming in from one angle. He's really got to spread the banelings out. Oh, no, 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 no. Too many banelings being wasted. You've got to drag this fight out, Elazer. He walks into the Psystorm, and with his banelings gone, there's no more fear. Harstem can just crash through this. There's enough meat, and there is a ridiculous number of storms. The High Templar no longer in danger, and he's just rolled over. Oh, my God. A brutal push here from Harstem. At the same time, he was warping Zealots into the main base, and a Zealot and 2 DTs. And takes him down. I really feel like this sort of push timing is what I was worried about all game, is if you don't go to the Broodlords fast enough, you've already invested in so many Roaches. I feel like the Hydras came out at a time where Storm was ready. Yeah, they're a good defensive unit on creep, but you need the sickest surrounds. You need banelings coming in from all sides. You can't just attack from this sort of angle. You need it to come in from the top, preferably. If you're taking those rocks down, you bring banelings around there, and you bring banelings around over here to the left as well. And then suddenly, because if you can go into like 4 or 5 banelings at a time. If they ever hit the High Templar, all the High Templar die, your opponent's army sucks. Or you bait out Storms at the very least, and you just slow them down, and your Hydras are coming in from every angle. Storms can't do their damage, and that works out really well for you. But I think the biggest problem here was, yeah, the Broodlords were just a little bit too far away. A real travesty that he forgot the baneling drops, in the midst of everything that was going on. And I would have loved to just see the creep spread further out in all sides. When you're playing Hydra Bane, you've got to take the most pedantically obsessive surround engagements that you can. And yeah, definitely need those Broodlords a little bit faster. Unfortunately here, Elazer just getting a bit too slowed down, being forced into a ton of Roaches, and then, not really being able to trade them out effectively and get a high enough tier army. Hydra Bane's very good. When your opponent is maxed, though, it is very hard to find the insane value that you're looking for. Elazer was still building drones, pathogen glands. He was trying to go up to that super late game, but he just wasn't there yet. And I like that he was building spores at the front. But realistically, even spines might have helped a little bit. Just anything to help him hang on there. Well played by Harstem, though. Really nice pressure opening. The cheeky DTs, I think he knew that Elazer is a player who likes to just defend with a single Overseer. So when you start coming in with DTs from all sides, you can get yourself in a really good position. But I don't really think Elazer had the numbers to deal with this army. This 38 Zerglings, I think he makes them all into banelings, but he actually needs even more than that. The problem is 30 supply is tied up in Roaches. And those Roaches are near useless in this fight. At this stage, Roaches are the worst thing you could possibly have. Ideally, he would have split all those Roaches off and just dived into this base and forced a lot of Warpins at home or a recall. You go in with 15 Roaches, a Ravager, and an Overseer. Harstem doesn't even have the supply to deal with that. So if that was hitting, just as Harstem's army got to this point, I think that's really good because you can trade that out, have banelings set up on all sides, and replace it with Zerglings. Because 15 Roaches is shit, 30 banelings is battle-changing, it's game-changing. Really good micro from Harstem, though. Great force fields there. But you can see he's on creep. And when he's on creep, he should be afraid of Hydra Bane, but I think Elazer here was a little bit panicked. That was too many banelings all in one clump, and he wasn't morphing enough banelings. You've got to just be making as many banes as possible, and not quite able to do it. Banelings are the answer to this army. GG, 2-0 victory for Harstem. Well played.